That's all I ask, is that you give me your undivided attention. If you have a computer, I appreciate if you shut it, and just give me your total undivided attention. That shows respect, and I respect you. I want you to know that I prepared for this class because I owe it to you. I respect you as people. So in order for me to come here, I put together, I like to think, about 2 months of planning and trying to find something that's going to work with your everyday lives. Okay? Now, one of the hardest things to teach, and I teach athletics, I'm a world-class athlete, someone that are currently in the Olympics, some 2 gals just made the gold medal last year, skiing, first gold medal in Nordic. One of the hardest things to teach anybody is to give your undivided attention to the task at hand. Very difficult. The skills are different. Let me give you an example. If do we have somebody on marker on the board, Doctor?
I don't know if we
Did you get one for me, something like that, magic marker or something? But in all schools, you have the front of the ski here, and this is the tail of the ski. If this represents the future, and this represents the past. If the past and the future collide and hit exactly, it is at the present moment. Last year I took a world-class skier, Nordic skier, guy, you know, okay. Took a world-class skier last year, and I said to him, I make these leather bags. And I wanted him to lace that bag, and I wanted the tension exactly the same, each lace. And I said to him, I want you to do that. Couldn't do it. Why? He could not give his total attention to the task at hand. He's a good world-class skier. So you have to practice that. When I hear people in athletics saying, all right, give it your best shot, stay focused. You can't. You have to practice that everything you do. Like now, I can repeat exactly what he said. This guy here's a young hockey player. This guy here, this one's a very, very attentive person. I met with Dr. Darbo, right? I met with him. I can tell you exactly what he said. Why? Train myself to give my undivided attention to the task at hand. Okay? I was a professional alpine skier. Wasn't the best. But every day when I was practicing, even before that, I would have to practice and pull my mind to exactly what I'm doing now. So these people that are in coaching or in athletics say, okay, focus now. Nah, you can't, because you've got to train your mind. In muscles, what you do with your muscles is you train and condition the muscles to repeat that motion. That's why it takes a lot of repetitions. I have a daughter that plays for Princeton. By the way, academics is very, very important. She had a chance to try out the Olympic team this year. Turned it down to go down to South Africa to study the human organism that can be alive without oxygen, without water, without light. Proving that there's other life on different planets. She had a chance to go to some Nobel Peace Prize winners, turned down the Olympic in a sense of trial. Not saying she makes the team, but she's world class. Proud of her. Academics, hockey players, football players, basketball players, dime a dozen. Good people, hard to find. Intellectual people, hard to find. I'll give an example, professional with me. I come home, I make professional alpine skiing. I come in the house, I got the skis, I'm so excited. My mother's Polish immigrant, she says, get out, take those boots off, you got snow on your feet. I go out, shovel the driveway. Come in, she said, don't bring up professional skiing with me. A monkey could ski fast like you if he covered his ears. Do something with your life. I have an athletic camp in northern Michigan. I got it right on the wall. Guys that come stumbling in there, talking about athletics to me, sit down. My kids included. Herb Brooks Award, put it away. You're more than that. These athletes are here, including all the athletes or people. You're better than that. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you, you make a difference. You people in these chairs can make a difference in life. Big difference. We're going to talk about it. And I respect, you know why I respect all you kids? I'm not blowing smoke up your butts. 2 of my kids graduated from this university, from Mankato. Very good school. Now, if I came into that, typical speakers, Mankato's a good school, blah, my kids did. So when I say it, I mean it. And you get a straight shooter with me, right up front. I like you, and I mean it. Here's why I think you're smart, and you use this. Nothing against private schools. I'm not going to knock a private school, because there's places for them too. They're very expensive. Some schools $45,000, Princeton $60,000, $65,000. You got almost $200 grand in education. Some kids can go to a junior college, like my wife did, and then go to a state school. And then you can, when you graduate, you don't have much of a bill. You take that information, I don't care what it is, and you go to your employer and you say, look at what I did for myself. I saved the money. I'm in education. I'm in business. I'm in athletics. I'm whatever I'm at. Think that I can do for your company. They'll hire you because you're bright. You're smart kids. You're investing in your education, but you didn't go out on the limb and borrow all that money. So when I come in here to Mankato, I mean it. When I see you kids sitting here, I'm sincere. You're bright. You're telling me you're bright because you're not throwing money in something that you may or may not need. Who gets the money if you went to Harvard or Princeton or Yale and you had to pay? The teacher with the little pads on his arm and the little wiring glasses, he's got the house, you got the bill. Can't be too bright. So you're telling me you're bright being here. And I mean it. I'm sincere. You'll find out I'm very sincere. All right, one of the things I wanted to try to do with you people today is this, and I mean it. If I can leave today, being a guest speaker, just to get you to think, you might say, come on, that's easy enough. Not easy. A lot of people don't think at all. So if I can get you just to think, now if you can think of this word, it's this, TAC, T-A-C, TAC. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you've got to come to this class, and you're late, but you can't afford to buy a car, but you can afford to buy a bike. You say, I'm going to get here on time, I'm walking. So you're thinking about it, okay? That's the thinking part. What do? I'll buy a bike. Then you've got to act, which is the A. All right, how much? Maybe I got $50. All right, I'll find one, maybe 3-speed. All right, you act by buying a bike. Then, where does the C come in? Change. You're no longer walking. You're riding. Plus, you're here on time. So you've done 3 things. The T, remember this word, for the rest of your life, tact. You thought about it, that's the T. You acted upon it, that's the A. And the C, it committed change. Your whole life will be that. For example, coming to the school, thought about it, you acted because you enrolled. And then the change is going to be that you have some change left over because you have to pay somebody else. Good. You haven't changed, you have an education. Those 3 things, everything you do. For example, sometimes people act and it commits a change. Get married, whew, there's one. Some people don't even think about it, do they? They get married and end up having all these issues. They commit change, or you're not hunting, or you're not playing hockey mentally tonight. Your wife's complaining, or your husband's complaining. There's a change. Think about it. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's a change. So T-A-C. Think, act, change. Now, sometimes you can think too much. How many business students here? Any business? Any in business? None. All right, if you're in business, think of this. Or anything, really. Let's say, for example, you've got an opportunity to buy a piece of property, and it's a good investment, and you think about it. If you think about it too much, you think, I might not be able to pay for it. When is the mortgage calls due? Maybe I lose my job. And you think about it too much, somebody else buys it. There's a difference too. Think, act, change. You'll miss a lot of deals if you think too much. Red Wing Shoe. One time I worked in Red Wing. The walking shoe was just coming into being. And what happened was this. They hired these young guys with these computers. And a year and a half went on for all this information. In the meantime, other companies got an early start. They got into the walking shoe business sooner. Even if they created a mistake, they created loyal people. And Red Wing Shoe was behind the 8 ball. Couldn't catch up. Too much, didn't they? All right, action, non-action. Sometimes non-action is as important as action. I'll give you an example of that later on. All right, now my purpose today is that, 1, to get you to think, like I leave. And I don't mean thinking in the sense of critical thinking or looking this way or transparent thinking, just logical thinking with the idea of action. I want you to make a commitment to something, okay? And that can be changed with, for example, women not getting paid as much as the men. It's only about 65–70% now. When I was in college, it was about 40%. The woman would get 40% of the man would get doing exactly the same job. That has to be changed. That has to be changed. So what we try to do is, how can I help that? How can we make that not quite so diverse as far as value? They're the same. So, action. I can't make you, of course, you get involved. I'm saying make an involvement in different issues, political issues, business issues, being loyal, and so on. But I can get you today when I leave, I can get you to use, remember that word, those 3 words, everything you do in your life. Think about it, okay? Then act or not act, and it commits change. All right, now, how am I going to get this across to you? I'm going to get it across in this way. I'm going to give you some examples of how I grew up, the environment I grew up in, the culture I grew up in, and how it made a difference in my life of change. Right? Then I'm going to give you an example of other cultures that I have experience with, either international business, traveling, whatever I had to do with different countries. All right? We'll make it fun. there's three things I do when I either teach or people work with me. I try the task itself, and that's me to try to stimulate thought, learn from each other, get a chance to talk, everybody gets to learn from one another, and the third is fun. Come on, you gotta have a little bit of fun. You ain't gotta have any fun if it's being in education, or if it's in athletics, whatever it might be, or business, fun. You gotta have some fun. So those three things I insist on, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about where I'm from, and my background, and how it affected my life. I'm from a little mining community in northern Michigan and Wisconsin. My father was an immigrant, came from Italy. I'm the first generation. And my mother is Polish. And at this particular mining community, we're all iron ore mine underground, very dangerous. They took advantage of, big companies took advantage of those people that were immigrants. But I grew up underneath that setting. And we get a lot of snow there where I'm at. I'm living there now at an athletic camp. We get anywhere from 250 to 350 inches of snow. Last year it snowed to the middle of May. When I was a senior in high school, we had 360 inches of snow. We didn't go to school much because we wouldn't get there, which wasn't too bad, but I'm no dumber now than if I would have been. So it happened. I always say that, no dumber now than that. But that was the setting, all right? Now, to show you how history repeats itself, how it repeats itself 100-some years later, this is the same things happening now, which is sad. When we had three groups of people, the Italians, the Poles, and the Finns. And when they first started coming to northern Michigan, the Caucasian group was there, and they would say, darn Italians, those wops, Dagos, those Finns, they're stealing our jobs. They don't even speak English, rotten BOCs, dirty skunks, on and on and on. So what happened? The Italians stuck together in town, the Finns went out of town, and the Polish lived in sort of really the poorest part of town. They weren't integrated as accepted by the Caucasian group, okay? And they're gonna steal our jobs, all right? Now, those people went on, first generation, even though that particular generation, doctors, scientists, entrepreneurs, made lots of money for the country, worked in different industries. Same immigrants 105 years ago. My dad, my grandfather, myself, now first generation, all right, to help the country, fought the wars. What's happening now, exactly the same. A lot of the people from our southern Mexico, our southern neighbors coming to our country, dirty rotten skunks. They speak English, rotten BOCs, all right? Dirty rotten, who the heck they think they are integrating here? They'll take our jobs. Exactly the same, wrong. Did you know that when the immigrants come here, they have, the first generation has the highest entrepreneur starting businesses than any other one, immigrants. They start different businesses. I'm going to show you how businesses work. I'll show you the small business, and you can do it too. You people are sitting here, and that's what I'm counting on you people to make a difference. You can make a change. Either way. I'll give you an example. I have a little bag business. I make leather bags, all handmade. Red Wing has some of the best leather in our country. I used to work in Red Wing, but I get this leather. Now, no business is a small business. A big business is somebody who needs that money to eat. Oh yeah, big business there. So what I do is I say, okay, make these bags. I call Red Wing, I say, I want so many hides. They call Chicago, Kansas City to butcher so many cattle. That piece of hide goes from there to Texas to get all the blood and the hair and stuff off it. Send it there to Red Wing. I tell them the kind I want, all right? Now, in the meantime, that particular hide is going from the guy that processes it in Kansas City stockyard or Chicago. Somebody has to drive that hide down to Texas. Have to insure that truck, maintain that truck, okay? Gets there, someone's got a job. Goes from there, same thing, the Red Wing. They see me coming, they're happy. Why? Providing some work. Those guys are tanning it, okay? It's craft. Then I take it to the gal that works with me, okay? She works, we make them, sell them, she pays some bills. You got a cycle. That's not a small business, a big business for all those people. There's three things in our country, in any country. You have natural resources, zinc, copper, iron ore, and so on. You have agriculture, and you have products. Of course, human resources are the most important. Now here's my point. Hasn't changed. If you look at our history, tobacco was huge in the 1800s. Hudson Bay, we had the fur industry. China, we had the tea. Cuba, we had the sugar. Hasn't changed. Natural resources, agriculture, products. The rest of the people, get in line. I tell everybody, educators included, get behind me, because I'm making a product to making this wheel turn. Now, you're teaching these people education that I need that resource that they can speak English or speak another language. Get behind me. Product, an American product. I'm proud of it. Still proud to be American. Most. Great country. We have problems, absolutely. We have problems. Great country. All right, so now you can do it. So can you. All you in this room can do it. And I would expect you to do it. Something, even small, you invent something. I made my own little Zamboni. I got my own thing. I make ice all the time. I had my little rubber band radio. I made a ring for the kids. Johnny Bull, professional, a couple of them, 4 or 5 professionals that played in my ring. And I was so happy because I had to learn about the ice. It was fun. It could make a difference. What is really the best, I think, best profession in the world? That's what I think. Best profession in the world, and art. You know what that is? Changing the quality of the day for somebody. Somebody's day is better because of you. There's not a better profession than that I know of. What's more important in life than to help somebody else? Nothing. What trumps that? The camp I got, I throw 30 grand a year in just to keep the door open. Some kids that come there, young people don't have money, I tell them, you owe me 5 hours of help, so I've never seen them again. I don't care. They're good about it. Send me something that you did. Nothing trumps helping somebody else in life. No, I'm not just talking, you're helping women. Pull their buns up here and get them up above. Why do you think you put your kids, the father put you on your shoulder so you can see farther than him? Now, a secure person does that. A secure person does that. In fact, I talked about bags yesterday. A real man carries a bag, like a purse. You know why? A real man says, I don't need your approval to like me. I wear them all the time. What is that, I'm going to let somebody tease me? Come on, I'm flat. No, I don't need their approval, I'm secure. I put my bug spray in there, I put my toilet paper, my candy bar, a little bottle of water, I walk with my little bag. I don't put my pocket ones on my shoe. Why, I'm going to worry about somebody saying, he's scared of that? Come on, grow up. Secure, comfortable with myself. If it gets to athletics, you know what I say to people? Want to talk athletics? Come on, get up here. I'll write all my athletics here. Sign a professional contract, Alpine professional, elite, and Nordic. Come on, coach, Hall of Fame, put it up. I haven't bought with it. I haven't bought with it. All right, so what is my point? My point is this here, is that you can make a big difference. But it starts with being secure with yourself as a person. Now, we're going to talk about respect. Respect is huge where I grew up. I mean, huge. We go to this Italian dinner. Unfortunately, the girls didn't go, but it's called the Sons of Gucci. And we go to this dinner, and I'll never forget it. This guy was about 40 years old, Danny Santini. He starts talking, and all of a sudden there was a hush among the room. All these old Italians, 80, 85, 90 years old, he kind of just looked at him, just his eyes. It was like, sit down, you're too young to say anything. All of a sudden this big strong guy, he got in his chair, and I said to Barry, I said, I'm glad I never said nothing. Respect for the elders. They know something we don't because they live. Now we're going to talk about respect, and I'm going to play a couple songs for you too. You respect all people, regardless of their skin, obviously, color, their hair, their religious beliefs, non-beliefs. Non-beliefs. Did you know that the University of Minnesota did a study? And they would take a murderer over an atheist. Can you imagine? Because they don't believe? Oh yeah, not fact. Well, that means when I talk facts, I'll talk facts. If I'm just talking values, that's a different issue. Yeah. Come on. Non-beliefs. Color of your skin, length of your hair, earrings, no earrings. Marriage status, the same. You respect them the same. If they have, unfortunately, maybe somebody was born with some type of thing that they don't quite have all the faculties, all the senses that somebody else has, what could they do about it? Or a girl, or a boy. You gotta respect them. Come on. They're the same. And did you know this? I just found out when I was up in Princeton, I watched my daughter play hockey, and she's studying. There's required. You have to take ethnic studies. The world's only this big. Come on, it should be required. The whole country takes ethnic studies. The world's only like this. When I was your age, it was huge. We had communications. And I read that difference, you probably noticed already, I don't want to repeat myself, all right? 2%, genetically, we're only 2% difference. In some cases, if you take somebody from Africa, take somebody from England, they're even closer than the two people standing together. 2%. So we're the same. We're human beings. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about human beings and all things how to connect. When I was younger, my dad, being Italian, he was a butcher, he worked in the mines,
And then he also worked at, I didn't know this, he worked at a funeral home where he got the bodies made at night, and he needed money for help. One day I bought a Red Ryder BB gun, and I made a mistake. We were shooting at these robbers in the yard. He grabbed that gun. He looked at me. Unfortunately, I didn't kill it. I can imagine what happened if I killed it. He took it and he twisted that BB gun over his leg, and he took it and he bent that darn gun. I just bought it. I paid my paper route, you know. He said, "What are you doing shooting at that bird?" I said, "What, Dad? You kill all these animals?" "I kill them because we use the skin and I eat it. We make soup out of everything. We only give away maybe just the paws, a little bit left over." "What are you, nuts?" He looked at me and he said, "You're going to start to respect all things on this planet, including humans." He didn't put the humans first. He put what was there before we came. I got goosebumps. I thought just about maybe fourth grade. It's very sure, you know. He said, respecting all things on this planet, including humans. Wow, he's right. People look at things, maybe flowers or trees or birds or bugs or whatever it was. He had it down with no education. From that day, I wasn't perfect, but I remember that. And I thought about that when I got older. Oh, I thought, including all things, including humans. Wow. That meant that covered a lot of ground. Covers a lot of ground, fishing, all this stuff. That was my father. Now, Veterans Day just went by. They made a story about that. What did I learn from that? Respect all things. Playing football, high school football, come home. Oh, this was a mistake. I come in the house, I'm tired of sophomore. And all my relatives that were in World War II, Korean War, the whole war, the war just got over. I'm old. I'm be 66 years old. And I come home and I made a mistake of saying this. God, was that hard practice. So here's my Uncle John. They're home to visit me. My Uncle Joe, my Uncle Frank, my Uncle Vic, my Auntie Jumbo, my father. They're all smoked. They smoked that. And my dad heard me say hard. He said, "What did you say, you little brat? Sit down in that chair." I sat down. "You used the word hard?" You know, I said, "You used the word hard in front of us?" Your Uncle Vic get the boat blasted in half, his back is shot. You see that brace he's got on? His wife's shooting at 45, being a nurse, going from private to captain in about 4 weeks because the Japanese are coming into tents. Your Uncle Johnny and Joe land in Normandy and walk out in Berlin with somebody trying to blow their head off. You're talking about hard. I go to that mine every day, 5,000 feet, and I go from there to Martini Sink. You little brat. Don't ever use the word hard with me around here. Football. Hard. Fatigue? Yes. Skillful? Yes. Have to catch a pass? Yes. Hard. Knock it off. I never use the word hard around. Now my kids at my camp, my athletic camp, some of the best athletes in the world's come there. They don't use hard around me. Coaches either. Get out of here. You haven't lived. Don't use hard till you can define it. Burying your parents is hard. Burying a daughter is hard. Going without food like I did in Mexico, that's hard. Don't tell me about hard. Dying in some alley if you're a CIA worker, that's hard. Nobody even knows who you are. Skating from blue line to blue line, yeah, right. Hard. What are you talking about hard? I've got coaches bawling. Talk to me about hard. By burying your parents, you would think that blue line to blue line is like letting a fart. Compared to burying your parents, you'd be bawling. That's hard. I never used hard. No, hard. And education's important. One of my guys that played football, Doug Sutter, played with the Vikings. 12 years, 4 Super Bowls. My son and I went watching when he got inducted. The first thing I did when I went there, my son got mad. I said to Elvin Page, Marshall, and my player that I played with, Sutherland, and Burns, and coach, I said, "You tell my son he said to stay in school. You tell him that football don't mean nothing. He has to stay in school." You know what they said? "Stay in school, your father's right." And Josie said, "Why are you talking like that? You're honoring these guys." You're my son. What do I care about somebody jumping on somebody? Even though my best friend plays with the Vikings. You got an education. It's the other thing my father did. You kids are smart to get educated. Don't quit. He comes over to mine, grabs me by the back of the neck, just like this, puts my head down by the snowbank, spits out a big Kelly Forge iron ore. I got my head down. He said, "You're not working with a pick and shovel. You're going to college. Stay in school. Even if you don't get the best job, stay in school. Because when you sit at a table with another college education over here, he's no dumber than you, and you're no smarter than him. But you can say it because you graduated from college. Well, that pony rank on you. You got an education too. even if you never use it, go to college. Well, maybe totally ranked on you are. My freshman year, I went to Superior. At the time, that summer, I worked at a car factory. Just 18, 17, went to a car factory. It was at Belvedere, Illinois, I-90, Chrysler Motor, 1966. We had no money, 5 of us. Brother Johnny, me, Cosno, Terry Mazzulio, Henry Snesk, 56 Mercury. All the apartments were taken because it was an influx of work there. See, a lot of immigrants came to work at the car factory. I slept in a trunk of that 56 Mercury for 12 weeks. My brother Johnny slept in the back seat because he was the next toughest. Henry slept in the front seat because he owned the car, and 2 other guys. I was a friend, so I at least got the trunk off the ground. Bobby Cosno, Terry Mazzulio slept on a big gas tank. So when I went to college, my first paper I had a hitchhike. The car broke down, transmission went, so I hitchhiked up from Illinois, just got here to register. I had a teacher, Dr. Gardner. And I had to write my first theme. And I wrote what you did that summer, a pretty comic for freshmen. Well, it wasn't very good writing. I didn't write very well. I wrote about how I stayed outside, climbed over the fence at night at the swimming pool, and took the soap in the car, broke down to save my money, shot squirrels and ate all the cans. And he wrote on there, I'll never forget it. He gave me an F. And he said, your potential is a D-. And then we sat in front of Bobby Jettis out here and myself, my hair like this, only longer hair. And he was a jerk. He used to criticize, say, you're a greaser and you're even greaser yet. Ah, come on, you're just a freshman. I went to get help from the seniors, so I finally passed that class. And the last day in that class, I wrote to him on the bottom of the paper. I went, dear Dr. Gardner, if I'm on my deathbed and I only have 1 hour to live, I wish it was in your class. Because an hour in your class feels like an eternity. Get up here. Did you write that? I said, yeah, I wrote that. He said, you say my class is boring? I said, you say it to yourself, Doctor. I said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm only 18 years old and I tried hard. I don't have a lot of money. I said, I think I got more than D- potential. I think if you had read that, you'd see that I want to be in college. He was a jerk. He had the little blue pads on his arm with the wiring glasses, like he was smart, you know. Little ass. Flattening off, I saw him. He was laughing at what you did in the face. True story. So, but anyway, education's important. Now, here's what I want you to think about just for a second. What I say may not mean one thing to you, nothing. Blow it off. But the truth means everything. That's all I want you to take from the truth. Not about me. The truth. Now, before we go any farther, I'm going to talk about how to catch recess monkeys for experiments. They have a little coconut. They hollow it out. They make 2 holes and they put peanuts inside this coconut. Just enough for the monkey to put his hands in. As he puts his hands in, he grabs those 2 little nuts in there like this. He don't let go. Now his fist is bigger than the hole. He becomes captive of himself. Now, the same with people. If you have myths and you have different things about different people, stigmas, mental illness, stigma, colored skin, stigma, myths. If you don't let go, you become captive of yourself. Let go. Now, adults are more so than young kids. But you gotta let go. Same with learning. You have to let go. Otherwise, you're captive of yourself. At least give me a chance as your guest speaker for you to let go of some myths or some stigmas that you might have. Or anything, mental illness, different races, stereotyping. Let go. And the one thing I want for you young people is this, is to have that same youthfulness now with your thinking as you get older. For some reason, people said they get cynical when they get older, or they get negative. I don't know why they lose it. I said to my wife, and I said, what I like about college is that this you people, this young idea of idealism, positive thinking, you know, willing to help the future. And some of the older people, complaining, I'm like, this is no good, those Mexicans, come on. Keep that youthful thinking that you have. Openness. Why wouldn't you want to help somebody? Huh? Come on. And you know when you help people, you know why you should? One reason. You should. Not that there's a heaven or a hell if you don't. Come on. You just should. It's that simple. People say, why do you do? I should. No other reason. That's it. Because you should. Now, I'm going to talk about more, not just respecting this idea a lot. You have to know where you're at in life too. When I teach skiing, you have to know where you're at. For example, when we did alpine skiing, where am I at? Where do I want to go? How do I get there? I got this gate, I get set up this gate, and this gate, okay? Where am I at? Where do I wanna go? How am I gonna get there? How in the heck can you go to California if you don't even know you're in New York? Some people have not a clue where they're at, including teachers. They don't even know they're dumb. How can you get smart if you don't know you're dumb? Not that you are dumb. Huh, it's ridiculous. People out there in the world don't even know what we're talking about in ethnic studies. No. You'll say, they're Mexicans, why don't they learn my language? Yet they won't accept them. Why do they go in groups? Because they're not accepted by the Caucasian. It would be assimilation would be better if we accept right away, and then they would assimilate. Sure, they're gonna go to a particular group. Or you're gonna have Italian town or Chinatown or Spanish neighborhoods, of course, because they're not accepted right away. You've got to accept right away. Some of the professionals we found, professional meaning like doctors, surgeons, they assimilate a little quicker, but not right. Come on, accept them. They'll help our country. I'm all for it because I'm one. I like to think that human resources provide a lot of work. When I went back to northern Michigan, I gave 600 grand back to the cabin. I don't make any money for 30 grand a year and a half just to keep it open. Why? I owe it to my community, to that immigrant group. I owe it to them. Help them in the job. So what you have to try to do is let go, okay? Let go, and then you can make some decisions based on not stigma or something like this. All right, you don't need self-approval. What you can do is this. I'm going to talk about loyalty now. No, one more thing on respect. I'm going to play a song. How many of you know Tina Turner? Anybody listen to Tina Turner? Ah, you like Tina? All right, here. This one is on respect. I'm going to play a song. Great song. I like to play a couple for you kids. Students, excuse me. How many speak Spanish in here? You do? Bueno, well. Bueno, es importante. show their respect. And they don't dance, and they don't teach whistling. What? You gotta be kidding me. All right, well, I'm gonna do a song for you, Mexican. What I do, for you now, imitate 1 minute. You don't mind if I whistle for you, dear kids? Students, like, excuse me, pop, there, there. You mind? It's okay? Bueno. All right, now, I'm gonna do a song I do in Mexico. Yeah. You gotta learn whistling, come on. Yeah, I got 10 credits in it. How about that? It was easy. Just had to blow air out of my mouth, come on. There? No! That was one of the classes, all the guys that were in sports, no, we're gonna take it, come on. I had to get some. Yeah. See, mine isn't interesting.
Muy excelente.
It's interesante. In Mexico, it's so common. All right, now, I'm gonna talk a little bit about loyalty, okay? And this is again from my side, my heritage, the Italian heritage. And I'm gonna talk about a dog. When I was 8th grade, you shouldn't have to go to 8th grade when you're a boy, because you know everything. You should just skip it from 7th. If anybody that taught or worked with kids that are younger than 8th grade, myself included, it's hard. Those kids are pretty bratty, snot, they get fingers stiff, you know, so on. But they grow up. I was in 8th grade, and my father came downstairs, and we had the Italians, the Finns, and the Poles. And behind us was a Polish family, and they had a dog. It was on a chain, and the chain was on a clothesline. And his dog house was over here, and then he had his food dish was over there at the bottom. And my father said to me, I want you to watch the dog, that's Zarzinski's dog. And you let me know at the end of the week a pattern that you see. All right. So I watched. Sure enough, about 6th, 7th day, I can remember, I said to my dad, Daddy, the only thing I noticed is the Zarzinski dog never poops or pees where he eats. He goes in that chain. You know what he said? You're one bright guy. You never poop where you eat. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I feed you, I clothe you, mother gives you love, affection. You get food, water, shelter, not adventure, some adventure. My foot meat in your rear, remember we have a meeting. That's the only meetings I have with my dad, is foot meat in my pack, once. All right, now. And he said to me, he said, don't, if you're gonna ever say anything about somebody, don't say something about people that love you and care for you. Same with this university. You ask some questions about the University of Mankato, you're proud of Mankato. You're proud of your city. You're proud of your school when you went. That means you never poop or pee where you eat. In other words, you're getting a check from that person, somebody's caring for you. You might have some issues with it, but you discuss it in private. And that stuck with me my whole life. I come from a little town. I don't say, well, I live, 100 miles east of Duluth, 140 miles, east of Marquette. I live in Hurley, Wisconsin. My little town, maybe 1,500 people now. I run living in Iowa now, just a handful of people on the gravel road. Do you know? You don't? I don't think you know where it is. I tell you where it is, right there. That's where I'm from. You see? Sure, I'm there because I am who I am because of them. And when I hear people talking about self-made, my career. No one's self-made. When somebody tells me they're self-made, I say, you're lying. Here's why. First, your mom had to wipe your buns and give you some milk and put you to sleep, put little clothes on you. Somebody gave you your first job. Somebody gave you some money to loan it for. No one's self-made. Nah. I say, get out of here. You don't even know that you're dumb. Somebody helped you. Helped you. Now, loyalty is very important. I'm going to talk about loyalty. I'm going to talk about integrity. 10th grade, I was in a woodworking class. And to this day, you think I'm kidding, you call him Doc. His name is Mr. Wick. He's alive. If you call him Doc, you're going to make this story up. He tells it the best. I took my son to meet him. Henry Gilbertson, one of my guys I played sports with, he stole a wrench. Took the wrench, and in the shop, you have a little magic marker on it, crescent wrench. And Mr. Wick came in, he said, I want that wrench back. Woodworking. I don't get that wrench back, you're getting HAs. That's a hot ASS. He had a big paddle. And he said, you take roll call, stand by your bench, and start off, he never hit us, but we had to hit each other. Grab your ankles, we start off with the HA for the months, okay? 5 classes, 5 days, that's 100 kids a day. We hit each other. My buns, I was just about 120 pounds, it was just black and blue. Finally, on Friday, that day, Friday, I'll never forget it, he called, I want everybody in the draft room. We all went down to the draft room. Oh, Mr. McCoy, oh my God. He got down, he come in, I'll never forget it, I could see it right now. He said, boys, I want to tell you something, I'm from Rice Lake, Wisconsin. I've never seen anything like it. Not one of you guys told whoever took that wrench. There are some tough kids. That Italian loyalty was tight, thicker than thieves. I give you credit. One guy raised his hand and said, we throw 2 pennies in each. Can you buy a wrench from Jim Noise and don't get us no more? No problem. To this day, he tells that story. And you might say, now bowling's different. Somebody bowling, tell them. No question. But we never shined our apple at the expense of somebody else because maybe somebody else would do something bad, and we want the same loyalty. If you hit us, you ain't making us talk. You could beat us, and we're not talking. Loyalty, integrity. I'm proud of that. Today, oh, he did it. You wouldn't get one of those. Big sissy pants. Come on. A little loyalty, a little integrity. Henry didn't want to tell you, he didn't want to get beat up, so we asked the police, have you get done? He's been one of them. No, he was scared. We understood it. Later on, he said he forgot it in his pocket. But that's integrity. All right, now, you have to be humble too. One thing that we talk about, that they talk about there is humility, and sensitive, being humble. I'll give you an example. I still go skating in the little community of Ireland where I pay my $3. I skate Wednesdays from 1 to 3. Then I skate Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. These kids got no money. I'm doing nothing. When my daughter's team came up there from Reading to play hockey, I said, you watch it. They'll look right at your skates because they never saw a $200, $300, $400 skate like those kids. They have nothing. But there's tons of them, maybe 150 kids skating because they got nothing. But I still go there myself, put my skates on. Why? I'm no better than they are. And I'm no better than you kids, or students, excuse me. Why? My time's no more valuable than your time. I respect your time as much as mine. You're as important as I am. No less important. That's why I owed it to you to prepare. Because the only thing you can withdraw but not deposit is time. So I don't care, I'll never see you again, but I owe it to you because I respect you because of time. We have increments of seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks. That's life. That's how. I respect that. I have to know better to do. I'm just a little older. Not as smart as you, because when I leave, you'll be smarter than me. Because if I teach everything I know about this subject and you already came in with some, adding to it, you're brighter than I am. And I want it to be an act to be that. I want you to take you, pull you, you're American citizens. I'm going to talk about girls. Tough. I used to talk about girls. I had a girl, the captain of girls hockey team last year, and she couldn't go 1 flight of stairs. My wife was there, she fell in. Last year, when the first time I go to New York to watch my daughter play, what happens? I get stuck in that Hurricane Sandy. watched this kid play for all those years, and here's this big hurricane. Well, we're stuck in New York. Come on, it's the biggest disaster in the East Coast of the history of the country, right? So I say to my wife, we're out to help these Americans. She wasn't quite sure at first. Nah, I said, come on, I'll take a bite there if I have to, Manhattan. There are these old people on this 21st floor. No water, no lights, no power, they're old. So I get there, and I had this guy, I didn't take it, a duff bag, filled it up with water, all water bottles. I wonder why no one wanted to go to the 21st floor, because when we registered to go, shit, so we were scared, because all these old people were burning candles, and I didn't realize it, that's how dumb I was. I get to the 17th floor, I smell some burning. What the heck? And I remember starting to get a little bit of a panic attack. God, my brother's a fireman, and my nephew's a fireman. You have about 45 seconds if you get smoke from the curtains that had that, chemical in it. One eye, you're done. And all of a sudden I thought, God darn it, no wonder why I wanted to sign up for this. There's not only one. Then once I got over the fact that it's not about me, and I'm not saying it, I'm no hero. I thought, not about me, it's about the old people. Then I went. Now when I get to the top, here's the part that's interesting about the girls. I get to the top, I have just one little, I don't know what that was called, Joe. I had a little thing like this, remember, on my neck. For like, couldn't see nothing. You saw something on her? Here's two girls, maybe 23, 24 year olds, just little mice and things. Tough! They're up there. I said, come here. We're doing the same thing you are, we're helping. We should be. We couldn't get these big, strong guys, they were scared to go 3 floors. Here's these two women and things. I said, we're not leaving. They were good. They said, you take the evens, I take the odds. I said, we're not leaving this building. So everybody gets some water, some corn, something. Yeah, we're doing it. My wife was like, right? I did it. And those kids, I'll never forget it. So I made the girls' team hard, turning that water, all the gas. That girl on that hockey team could not go 18 steps. This was 21 floors, 21 times 18. Little mice, and they stayed. Tough. Tough. That's, I think, oh, yeah, they're tough. They're equal to man. Now, the other firemen and the police were on different jobs. I'm not saying that they wouldn't have been there, but they were at different particular positions. This is all volunteer. 2 women. Oh, man, I made, I tell some of those men, you think you're tough? Get your butts up 21 floors and you can smell smoke. Nah, they stayed too. Remember that, Joey? They stayed. Tough. So we respect all people, regardless of the sick. There's an example. I'm not, if you think I'm kidding about any of this stuff, call. I'll back it up. Every word. All right. Now, just spend a little bit more time with mine, and then we'll move to what I've learned from other people's countries. One of the things with my father, he had a truth chair. And that chair, he'd sit us down, and he'd ask us, what did you do today to make more money? Each one of us. And if we couldn't tell him, that meant that we were responsible. Okay? So we had to take our own responsibility. All right, now, I want to talk about some of the other countries that what I learned from them, okay? One of the ones that I went to was China. And China was kind of sad, how governments play a role in a way of shaping society or even the culture. When I adopted our daughter, the Chinese government were saying that only so many people could have children, and the girls weren't as valuable as the boys. So they put the best resource we have in the world up for adoption. My daughter, the one that plays in Princeton, she's Chinese. And so when we would talk to these officials, they would say, why would you want somebody? They kind of felt kind of corny that would want another child. All right? I'm not saying China's bad. I'm just saying the culture that they had shapes, and their laws shape society to some degree. Not totally, but it makes a difference. And that I found unusual, because I think there's nothing more important in human life and human research. Now she's going on to be a brain surgeon. They lost a person for their country that could have done something more for China. But by that law, you see? And that stood up with me. And the other thing, I've got an older guy, and China was changing quite well, this is 20 years ago, changing more Western. And they weren't, physically, they were in pretty good shape on mainland China. In Hong Kong, they were kind of heavy to eat Western foods. And one old guy that I met was crying. You know why? Because the changing of the culture was too fast. And he felt bad that they would lose some of the culture that they have. Eating was one of them. And now he was right. There's a lot of people that are in China now are getting overweight and so on. And we know that obesity causes a lot of diseases. So that's 2 main things I found. Is that they didn't value human resources, and that they're getting into the Western culture, and that's money and greed. And that's changing. All right, in Cuba, one thing I found about Cuba that was really interesting, I went there, pride. I mean pride. They don't have the best clothes. The government, it's communism, government gives them water, gives them a lot of food, they have a stipend. Doctors only make $16 a month. They'll quit being a doctor so they can work in a restaurant and make more money tips. But they have pride. One time, I went to the university in Havana, and there was an older guy sitting there, a security guy, and I made a mistake and offered him $1 or $2. He basically said, stick it up your butt. I don't need your money. I got by without it. And that's pride. And the other thing that I learned from the guy was this. When you sell bags, in order for me to say, keep the lifestyle that I have to sell so many bags a month. And he told me this, he said, listen, why don't you spend as much time at figuring out ways where your lifestyle is such that you only have to sell 10 bags. Oh, smokes. That's true. See, happiness is in direct proportion to the things that you don't buy or you can't afford. Happiness, direct proportion to those things. I thought, maybe I live a little easier life. I don't have to sell 100, I sell 10. You're right. Wisdom. Wisdom from Cuba. And they dance. At the end, we're going to dance, and you'll see that that's part of it. Now, we're talking about Poland. I went into Poland when the Cold War was on. It was bad. I lost 14 pounds in 7 days. And that's when we had, of course, then at that time, we had the government shake from Russia. The war was on, East Germans, and Poland was nothing but a buffer zone for fighting. Sad. The government played such a role, it's such a tight role, and then they couldn't leave. So what am I saying about some of the experiences I had? Is that get involved, okay? Because governments do shape, sometimes good, sometimes bad. See? And we wanted to seek the truth, so get involved. Governments play a big role. Our government too, with us. Now our government here in our country, what did they do? Cut food stamps. The people that needed the most, they cut it this last week. Come on. 2, 3 bombs would have paid for those food stamps for people that need it. That's sad. So our government just did that, get involved. Mexicans, we'll talk about Mexico a little bit. The grandparents played a big role in the children's development in Mexico. What time is this class over, Doctor?
12:15.
Okay. Mexico, they play a big, big role, the grandparents. I'm the godparent for one of the people that work for me there. And the grandmother came for about 7 months, she has a second baby. So the grandparents, like American, Native American students, I taught school with a lot of them, and the grandparents play a big role. That's important. You have grandparents, appreciate them, and when you become grandparents, play a role in their lives. One thing I didn't really care for in Mexico, and it's different for me, is that we had a dinner with a group, and the women waited on the men hand and foot. Now, hand and foot, I couldn't believe it. I went up and put my dish away. No, no. They're smoking, having a beer, and these women, educated women, they waited up here, they didn't. So they have a different role, which I didn't like personally from America. But that's their culture. Hopefully, in my opinion, I don't want to judge them, but in my opinion, I wish that would change. Real common. Okay? And they should be equal. And I think. All right. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about how religion. Now, this, I want you to know, I don't want you to think that I'm anti-anything, okay? I'm not. All religions have the value, okay? I won't judge them, but I want to give you an example on non-acting. Is that okay, Doc, if I talk about how non-acting can be a part of, we got the word tact. Think, act, or not act, and then change. I grew up a Catholic. I'm not anti-Catholic, but just give you an example how to change it in 40 years. When I was younger, we couldn't eat meat on Friday. That was a Catholic canon law. You can't eat meat on Friday, sacrifice. And an Italian couldn't marry a Protestant. The Protestant would have to change over to Catholic. That's no longer true, but it was a law. So in the 40 years that we've been married, is that those two things were changed. All right. Now here's my point. If being a minister is a profession, it is like a doctor or lawyer. A minister is a profession to deal with theology, also deal with healing, deal with faith. It's a profession. Why can't my daughter or two of my daughters become a priest? They're women. They're born women. You know, my wife or my auntie or you or you or you. Come on. They're born women. Why couldn't they become? There's a profession. Somebody say you can't be a doctor because you're a girl. Come on. Now here's how non-acting. I'm just using this as a theory. I'm not. Won't tell your parents I'm anti-Catholic. I'm not. How non-acting. Let's say that 350 million Catholics in the world decide they're not going to church. All the women aren't going to church. Catholic church. And they usually take the spouse, the husband and the kids. Now, for 1 month, the cardinals might say, we didn't make as much money this month. Second month, we'll get by. We'll show them. About a year, they're not eating. The money stopped. We didn't do anything bad. We didn't act. Now maybe somebody come down from the cult and say, well, why don't we let these women just be deacons to begin with, eventually priests? You can make a change. You change the hurry. Did you watch when the Cardinals came and have that new pope? They weren't skinny. I thought we were skinny. Like they had gross weight limit on those floors. Plus the marble, you know. All right, you're laughing, it's true. All right, now, my point is this. Am I anti-church? No. I like to see my daughter, they can be a priest, or anybody else can be a priest. Come on. This is 40 years from now, when your kids are older, young, I say young student, I apologize. I used to get older and say, professor came, a teacher came, he's kind of a character. But we used to laugh, they couldn't be priests, they could be priests now. What do we do? Sure, come on. You can change that. Just say they can. There'll be good ones. I wouldn't want to go to confession to someone. Like, whew! I've been wearing burlap underwear for 2 years. Do I have to tell them the first names? Stuff like that. All right, but anyway, to make a long story longer, that would be the thing of what I think is change without being active. Now, what are some of the things that I think that are important for you young people to think of? Simplicity, too. Keep your life simple. When you go to do something, try to keep it simple in the sense of this happiness. Why? All the clutter, the details in your life, look at some of the really simple things that make your life happy. It could be practicing hockey, or maybe making a dinner, or having somebody over opening the door, some of the smallest things. I want to read you something that I wrote here just on happiness. And I don't know what it is, but I was thinking when I was down in Mexico. All right, I wrote this. I hope somebody can understand. Happiness. I am happy and totally submerged in pain. I am rain when there's no rain clouds that appear. I am stillness among the sounds of battle. I am hope when there's great sufferings. I am patience in times of great decisions. I am love when surrounded by hate. I am happiness and joy when sadness is our neighbor. I am sadness at times. I am despair. I am the right way when lost. I am warmth in the coldest month. I am coolness in humid conditions. I am a teacher when a teacher is needed. I am the wind on a calm day. I am a breath of fresh air in the depths of earth. I am darkness and I am light. I am and will continue to be part of this universe, small as a speck of sand and yet as large as the universe itself. And what I'm getting at is this. Happiness doesn't come from other people, doesn't come from a car, doesn't come from a home. It comes from within you. Okay? You can find happiness from inside you. Okay? You can share happiness with other people, but if that person makes you happy, they can leave you in your life and die, unfortunately. Or you get a car, and you think this car makes me happy. You can lose the car, your home. So what I'm saying is that find the happiness from inside you. And happiness can come with simplicity. I now live in an 8x8 little garage, and I have my work there. Never been as happy. Never been as happy. And I'm happy to be here today with the young students. Honest to God, I look forward to it. I told the doctor I was nervous. Nervous why? I was nervous because it meant something to me. So regardless what you choose as a career, whatever your field of studies, if you decide not to go into that field, so what? Look for happiness. Happiness in society, you just gotta live out. You just gotta live out. And happiness doesn't mean that you go out and helping everybody in the world. No, when the opportunity presents itself, help them. Why? You should. You should. Now what I'm gonna do is show you something that was, I think, interesting. Some of the people that live with me or work with me, they might think I'm not all there. I'm trying to get it. No, hold on. I put this up, I just wrote it. I put out here, not under my watch will I stand up. I will stand up and be counted on the side of duty and respect, regardless of gender, age, color of skin, rich, poor, religious beliefs, or none. All people are created equal. I put that in my shop. That's important to me. I stand by it. I'll give you an example. In Mexico, it happened in the spring. My wife was there. I have 2 condos right on the beach. Anybody been to Playa del Carmen, Mexico? Yeah. Nice there, right? Huh? Nice there. And we're trying to sell our 2-bedroom. I won't mention the names of my partner's name, but I have 2 partners, husband and a wife. And I had a gal that works for me there. And I told her, if you could sell it, you get 6%. Unless, the price comes down, will vary a little bit. And I wanted to stay out of negotiation because she found it. And I told my 2 partners, I said, listen, I'd rather have you deal with our potential buyer that the gal that works for me found, so there's no squabbling over money in between. I want to stay out of it so that you can decide. Well, when remember, Elena found the buyer, she should be compensated. Okay. What would happen was this. Once the two partners of mine negotiated with the person that Elena had found, they wanted to kind of only offer, instead of offering Elena the 10 grand that she had coming, actually she had 21 grand coming, but she would accept the 10, that's half. They wanted to pay her 2,500. And they said to me, here's the part. He said to me, well, one time you told me that Elena's family only makes a photographer 15,000, only a few bucks a week. I said, I could do anything. I said, no, I'm calling this deal off 360 grand because you're discriminating her based on family income. That's discrimination. I will stand in her corner. I won't take 170 grand. We're not doing it. I wrote to the buyer, I wrote to the two partners, call it off. You know what that was? Integrity. I could have got 170 grand right in my pocket. No. I went down to the beach. I remember standing in that water up to my knees. My wife was there. It was up to here. And I stood there. I said, my parents would be proud of me. I ain't taking 170. You couldn't give me 170 million for my integrity. I'm standing behind that person. And you're not going to try to pay her based on income. She's already down in the dumps. You want to grind on her? Not with me. I called it off. I want to put my partners in jail. Also mad. Oh, yeah. I stand when I mean it. I mean it. Integrity. You can't sell that. And you kids that are out here now, don't ever sell your integrity. Because that's the only thing you've got. It's integrity. Stand by it. Even if you have to go hungry, stand by it. Now I'm going to tell you something about Mexico that was interesting for me. I wanted to see what it was like for me to do what my father did. Comes from Italy, you get off this boat. And by the way, it's kind of interesting. My grandfather, when he stayed in Ellis Island, they had to teach him a little bit about American history, a few words in English before they let him into New York City himself, right from Ellis Island. And when my grandfather, who couldn't speak hardly any English, nothing, he knew nothing about American history, but they gave him a nickel's worth while he was on the island. And as he was leaving, they asked him the question, what did Abraham Lincoln do? No, here's my grandfather, come on. It's like Shostakovich in Russia, who the heck knows? He didn't know who he was, let alone he did. And I never forget, because my father told me, he said, oh, he did his best. That was his answer. Pretty neat. He said, I can't go on. He didn't know who he was, let alone he did. We know Civil War, we know 16th president. He did his best. Pretty good. And they did his best. Now, but I want to show you something. I'm almost done here. I want to show you something that I wrote for my camp. I put up. And it's pretty easy. I say, failure is only a sure thing if you don't give yourself a chance to succeed. Nature does not define success or fairness. The path to fairness never ends. So don't say to me like, well, that's not fair. All right. Self-discipline should be a part of your life. Watch this. You want to be successful, here's what I give to high school kids. I call it. And this is hard. This, all kidding aside, this is what I give. I say, I give them a $10 clock. I say, set the clock 2 hours earlier than anybody else. And here's the hardest part. Get up and study, go for a run, exercise, whatever you want to do. The hardest part is you lay your buns in bed. I'll get up and show you. And you got to get your fat buns like this. Put your feet over like that. Put your buns up like this. And get up. That's it. And you do well. You will be successful. 98% of people this country couldn't do it. Discipline. Just discipline. I went to a Catholic school, I had a Catholic non-6th grader teacher. She said, you're shoving the rectory, you're shoving the church, you're shoving the school, you're shoving the convent. I said, I can't. I got 2 paper routes and I served them. She said, no, you're coming before 5 o'clock. I was only 6th grade. I did it for a whole year in Michigan. It's long. We go to the middle of May. And at the end, she said, what'd you learn, Robert? I said, I'll tell you. At first, my parents got me up, and later on, I got up by myself. She said, because of what you learned. You learn discipline. And when you learn discipline, you have the discipline again of self-discipline, right? Then you have self-possession. Once you have self-possession, you have any worldly possession you want. All the money you want, you got it. It starts just like that. To this day, I get it. I go outside and do some work. Something. 2 hours ahead of anybody. And I am not smart. I couldn't spell cat if you give me the first 2 letters. I can get up. Language, same thing. My friend Henry said, you never learned Spanish so well. I said, I will. He said, you don't have to be smart to learn Spanish. I said, you're right. But you have to be disciplined every day. Yo estudia español cada día. Ahora, bueno, hablar español. Porque el mundo ahora yourself jealous because you're not them. Kids talk about hockey or skiing, so you're not them, forget it. Why are you compared to them? You're never as smart as you might think you are. Treat life like it's your last. Search out the good things in life, bad things will find you all by yourself. If worrying helps, be the best worrier in the world, otherwise don't practice it. Never be embarrassed to say I can't afford it financially or socially. Financially, I don't have money. People say to me, want to go on this trip? I don't have the money. I'm not embarrassed. I don't have it. I had it. I might go, but I don't have it. I tell them that. I'll think it over. I don't have it. What the heck? Tell them the truth. Financially or socially. People drinking, smoking, get in trouble. I can't afford it socially. The last person I'd want to face when I get in trouble wouldn't be the friends, wouldn't even be the police. It'd be my mom. I got a little clip from her. That coach is to be nothing compared to my mom. Just what do you put your mind? I used to swear she put soap on my mom. You poop for a week. Good idea. I bar soap, mom. You're pooping for a week. And diarrhea. I had that. I'm serious. So fun. I wouldn't monkey with her. All right. Be grateful for all the things you don't have. Not the things you have. You don't have cancer. You don't have leukemia. I'm grateful for all the things I don't have. I'm so happier than a cat out of a fish fry. Because I don't have those things. Not for things you got. Things you don't have. Think about that. Your lifestyle isn't for everybody. My lifestyle isn't either. That's all I want you people, students, to do today. You can blow me right off, I don't care. But you're gonna think for yourself, and each one of you can do something to make the world better. I know you can. A castle can be an awful small place if it's shared with the wrong person. Let's say you marry the wrong person. You could have the buildings, all these buildings in Kansas, and it's too small. He or she would drive you nuts. A cardboard box is too big if you're in love with that person. It'd be like this, you can't get that box. They didn't get that one over there. All right. Treat humans as humans, treat things as things. Never use the word hard till you can describe it. You can describe it, use it. You can't, or at least don't tell me about it. Before you exit this planet, do one thing to make it better because of you. I'm going to use one swear word here. It's better to be a horseshit doer than a great viewer. In other words, why watch TV and you know everybody's number on TV when you can go out and play it yourself? Let's say you're a skater and you're watching the Wild or Mavericks, whoever it is. You go out and skate, you go for $3. I went downtown there. I was like, I'm terrible. I was a goalie. Oh, you like this goalie story? My son, I put the goalie stuff on him. We went out. And I said to Josie, hit a slap shot off my face. And my ears were hit my face, man. It's like a shotgun going off inside the car. Then I had rolls that wanted to cheat that went off my face. Boink, same thing. I said, all right, I hit one out. And my close like, guys, come here. He came up, I had that. Fuck my head. I said, see that? Yeah, it don't hurt, but it's my face. What hurts is Uncle Johnny got divorced 3 times. It cost him about $2.5 million afterwards. Now let's play hockey. Let's shoot Josie to Johnny. All right. Now I'll finish it with this. We have what, a couple minutes. This will be the end of your doc. Now, I did this. I'm going to show you here. I might one students. I don't hope maybe students can see this. We'll just see these blocks. Okay. This I discovered on my own here. This is when one of my person that worked for me thought I totally lost my marbles. I want to show you. Oh yeah, she's scared. Just a little bit. How many think this is interesting? Do you think it's boring? How many want me back? None? So, thanks, Doc. It's important. I heard somebody say important. That's fine. You can't make me like it. All right. Now, I need a volunteer. Who wants to volunteer? Do we have one? One student? This isn't hard. We have one? Come on!
This isn't penalty.
This is not dangerous. Come on up to the paddle.
He'll do it.
Yeah, come on up. Thank you.
This gentleman, Bob, served a tour in Iraq.
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations. I should have said something about the vets. I mean, I forgot to thank you. I appreciate the vets. I really do. I'm not saying because you're just right here. I should have said that. I usually do before I start. I appreciate your effort.
You all can come up here.
Yeah, have them all come up and look.
and see.
Yeah, they get, their class is almost done here, so they can stand up here, I suppose. Thanks for your time. All right. All right. One day at my camp we have tiles, and I got up and I realized all these tiles. I said to myself, what's your first name?
Dominic.
Dominic. Good. Come over here, Dominic. So all I want you to do is walk on those and walk straight, okay? Just look straight. Yeah, look straight. All right, keep going. All right, now stop there. I'll come back over here. Thanks, Dominic. Thanks for being here. The same thing here, but this time here, you can see how it turns, right? You notice that? This is going straight, and this goes like this, right? See the footprints? All right, that's what you do. All right? You see how he's turning? Now the other way? All right, here's my point. We have the same space, all right? We know we can measure it. We have space, and we have time, and then we have distance. Now, most people, I'm not saying it's bad. Either one is bad or one is good, just different. Most people, I looked at the squares and think in life, the herding mentality. They go like this, and they can get through life quite fine. But look, that's all they see is here, see? This is right here, see? Now, Dominic, go back. Same space, same volume, same time. Now, just because of positioning, get on there, please. All right, now look where you are in relationship to this. What did you see over here? Now this whole wall opens up because of your position. I'll go the other way. That wall now opens up because of your position. Yeah? Same space, same time, volume, different because he made the effort to turn. Huge. Now, when I did this, the gal that works with me wanted to put me in a nut house. She thought I should be another. Yeah, she comes in, she sees me cut off. She could not follow this. I love her, couldn't follow it. You kids, look to the right, look to the left, open up the whole wall here, the whole wall there. You get by like this, no question. Who knows, you might see somebody attractive over here. All right, thanks for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're nice young students. Stay happy.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I bored some of you, but